Okay, so I'm going to talk about scheduling. For the most part, when I've changed my schedule, I've changed my sleep schedule, I've changed my work schedule, I've changed, when I'm eating and if I'm exercising or not, I've changed all sorts of things all at the same time. And that often doesn't work for a couple reasons. First of all, you're changing more than just, one thing. That's the first thing, right? And me in particular, I don't do well when I change multiple things at a time. I have to focus on one particular change, work on it for a few days, create it as a habit, solidify it, and then move on to the next thing that I'm changing. Um, that being said, I think that overall, the sleep aspect of things is the most important. I'm a night owl, um, and so naturally, I want to go to bed around sunrise and wake up around sunset, which is the opposite of most people. Um, and so, over vacation, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been getting up around 5 in the afternoon and then going to sleep around 5 in the morning. And so I'm trying to re what's it called? Revamp that, I guess. Um, I I've tried getting up at 6 in the morning, and I've tried the whole like set only 6 alarms. I've tried, you know, when I had a full time job working in a warehouse, I was in an important position doing like meetings and hosting stuff, and I had to be up at like 5:45 and be at work by, I don't remember if it was, I think it was 7, maybe it was 6:30. I don't remember. I had to get up really early before the sun came up, um, and then be ready to present a meeting around 8, right? And I was reporting on the previous day's work and the efficiency that we had gotten done, and just, being a regular responsible adult, right? Um, that being said, I was not functional until after 10 a.m., right? It didn't matter if I got up at 9 or if I got up at 4. I just couldn't function well until after 10. And so I've started experimenting with sleep schedules. And in the past, I've equated that with just schedules. Um, and then I want to say maybe a month ago, I realized, okay, the reason why I'm failing is because I'm trying to do more than just the sleep schedule thing. Um, and if you can get a solid sleep schedule down, then everything else kind of falls in place. It's like, oh, I have, a well rested body, a well rested mind. Now I can actually put what I want in my day in a logical order and actually start to be productive. And so, with that being said, um, the new ish schedule that I decided I wasn't going to put into effect until after my vacation, and today's my first day of work. I'm doing some video editing and some, um, what's it called? Some contracting work as well. So today is my first day back, and I got up at 11:30, which is kind of decent for me. Um, Usually I'm not up yet. And so, at least in the last month, I haven't been. Actually, that's not true. In the last couple of weeks, because I actually worked the week of Christmas and the week before that, which is not normal for me. I usually take those 2 weeks off. But this year, I took 2 weeks off after Christmas rather than before. Um, I think that for me, I am wanting to mainly I lost what I was my train of thought. I'm getting up at 11:30 now, right? Which is really late for most people, especially people who think of, having a traditional job, and you got to be either up to do work by 9, or you got to be up to do work by 6. And there's kind of really no in between. Sometimes you can get away with like an 8 o'clock job if you're lucky. And since I have been more or less unemployed for the last 5 years, I've been lucky enough to like experiment with things for multiple months, see how my body reacts, and change it, right? Um, and so there was a time for like two um, 2 weeks where I was able to get up consistently at 6, and I was able to be productive. But in order to actually do that sort of schedule, I had to make the whole schedule when I was, in a logical state of mind. Um, and so typically how that would look is I would plan the whole day out in a portion of my day. I spent a day, like a whole day, scheduling out my week. Um, and I was really productive. Um, However, I don't really remember anything from that week. um, and so I'm trying to um, work on my mind and getting that to a more healthy state where I can actually, cognitively make wise decisions and, um, you know, think and do and not have this like haze in my head where I'm just like, I don't remember what I'm doing, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I know what I'm doing but I'm not doing it well, right? Um, so this might sound crazy to some of you, but I'm getting up at 11:30 and going to bed at 2:30 a.m., right? Um, and that eliminates the I'm not in a productive state of mind until after 10. So I eliminate that entirely. And then for the most part, I'm really productive after 10 p.m. Well after the sun is down. And a lot of people talk about how one of the best ways to like be productive is to get up at 6 and there's nobody around. But then at the same time, there's nobody around at 2 a.m. either. So there's actually less people around at 2 a.m. And so what I am doing is basically flipping that whole schedule in reverse. And for like social purposes, I have to be very conscious of when I'm getting up and when I'm going to bed, just due to, cultural norms, right? I can't hold a relationship and go to bed when the sun comes up, right? Um, my fiance is also a night owl, but she also holds a normal job, right? So there's pros and cons to, you know, this schedule, and I really want to um, I want to be as productive as I can. And so that's the whole goal here, right? Um, Now, there is a level of scheduling out my day in addition to this, but it's not adding. I'm not adding things to it. I'm just saying, hey, do I have time? And really, like, we all have 14, 16 hours in our day, right? More or less. At the very least, you have 12. And so that gives you, I think as people, if I don't remember what the exact study was or where I heard this, but I believe we all have like don't remember if it's 3 or 4 hours of focus power in our head. That's a really horrible way of describing that, but like we have the ability to be 100% locked in for 3 or 4 hours every day. After that, you're kind of spent, and you need to spend the rest of your day doing more meaningless tasks, or things that are more monotonous and take less brain power. So being aware of where you're spending your brain power is also something that I'm trying to be wary of, right? And so with that in mind, I have some actual paying work, and that's where I'm going to spend my brain power. That's part of the reason why I don't really edit these videos in particular, is because this is more of one of my, monotonous tasks. And this is more practice for me to be in front of a camera and to talk on an improvised level, right? I don't have a script. I'm just sitting down and talking. Give me a second. Yeah. I'm recording. Not at the moment. So, and just telling people no is another thing that's hard, right? A lot of us want to be able to just do everything, and it's not possible. I mean, I've been told multiple times that my dreams are not achievable or plausible, or you won't have a very high success rate. And I mean, all of this is true for, excuse me. I made myself some orange juice and put cayenne and salt and lime in it, so haven't done that in a while. Anyways, what I was saying before I got interrupted was that you really want to be careful about where you're spending your time, right? There's another video that I watched a while ago. Dude claimed to be a millionaire, right? You can't really know. I mean, you can look people up, right? And I never did, so I don't know. He probably was. I'm gonna just take his word for it. And he did I don't remember if it was 37 tips from a 37-year-old millionaire or something. I don't remember. Something clickbaity like that, and it worked. And one of his tips was it's okay to say no just because you don't want to, right? And it's okay to say no, and you got to learn how to say no sometimes, right? And then do things that you love and that you enjoy. And I guess the main takeaway here is that I am going to take time to have a schedule, like a sleep schedule that makes sense for me and my brain and my body, right? And then on top of that, I am going to wisely spend my time every day, and have hard boundaries on things. Like, I'm only spending 2 hours on this gig, right? I like to be, very meticulous about things, and I have to learn how to just do the task at hand to not the bare minimum, but to an acceptable level, and not polish things as much as I want to. That's another reason why I'm not editing these videos as much. I have to be okay with just being, right? And so, for the most part, this is probably going to be a mostly unedited video, for those reasons. So, I think that's pretty much it, but I want to challenge you to I mean, even if you've got a 6 to 4 or a 9 to 5 or a night shift or a graveyard shift or whatever work you've got, start like trying to pay attention to what's going on up here. Do you enjoy going to work every day? And this isn't me saying go quit your job, but like try and find that thing that makes you happy every day. And not just like feel good. What is something that makes you feel like you're good at something and that you enjoy? Even if you're not good at it, you can become great at it. But like, what is that thing that brings you joy every day? And I wholeheartedly believe that that thing, whatever it is part of why you're here on this earth, right? We're not here to just waste our time, right? Now, a lot of us, I'm assuming, are younger people, right? 30 and below, or heck, it's never too late, right? But like, for the most part, for people 30 and below who don't have families, like, your time is precious, right? And you're selling your time in exchange for money, right? And for me personally, I have more time than money, right? As you get older, you have more money than you have time. And so that's where that exchange happens, right? And so I'd challenge you to figure out when you're most productive, what you enjoy the most, and just start experimenting. And that's not to say quit your job and start experimenting. Keep your job. You're at this point, you're kind of blessed to have a job, right? I have several siblings, and there's 6 of us, right? And only one of us has any sort of actual job, and it's babysitting, right? The rest of us want jobs. We've looked for actual jobs. I'm actively looking for work. But at the end of the day, we're in a recession, and if not, moving into a depression. And so, like, the best thing that we can do is find the passion that we have, learn how to do what we love, and learn how to do it the best we possibly can, and make sure that we're being as productive as possible, and find a market, right? And as soon as you do those things, I wholeheartedly believe that that's where the magic happens, right? Now, again, as usual, I'm just some nobody, some 25-year-old kid who's living in their parents' house, right? And again, I have less than $0, right? So take all of this with maybe a handful of salt. But like I've said in previous videos, I want to make big change in my life. I want to be the next billionaire, and I believe I'm 1 in a million, and I believe that we all are. We're all different. We all have our skills. Now we can't do that if we don't believe in ourselves, and we can't do that if we don't actually work for us, right? For ourselves. And so, with that being said, I want to inspire somebody else who's in a similar position, right? Or anyone, really, even if you're not in a similar position. If you got a job, dude, you've got it made. All you have to do is stop spending that money in an unwise manner and figure out, like, where you can start utilizing that. And I mean, I'm assuming You might be that one person who doesn't have any debt. But on average, I think the net worth of a regular American 20 to 25-year-old, I think the average is a debt of like 8 grand. And so if you can start paying off your debt, that's a great start, right? But yeah, with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.